Okay, class, let's look at 6.3, example 2. Remember, we're working on completing the square, and this one's a little different because it doesn't have the x squared. So the first thing we need to do is go ahead and work out what we've got written here. We can go ahead and distribute this x that's right here. So when I distribute that, I get x squared plus 8x, and it says that equals negative 23. Okay, now remember, we want to be able to factor this out, or we want to be able to solve for x. But if I move that 23 over, there's no way I'm going to be able to factor it. So remember, our goal then is we want to do completing the square. So therefore we need to get our x squared and our x terms by itself. And lucky us, in this one it already is. So remember, I want to add something to that left-hand side of the equation that's going to create a perfect square. So I'm going to add in just a blank so that I can fill it in. And then we know what we add to one side, we have to add to the other. So go ahead and add the other blank. Then, to find that number, remember we're going to take 1/2 times our b term, or the number, the coefficient in front of the x, get an answer, square it, and that's the number that's going to go into our blank. What I have on the left side now is a perfect square, and I can factor it. And the left side, the right side, I'm just going to go ahead and add those together, and I get negative 7. So I can rewrite it as x plus 4 squared equals negative 7, and now we can just solve for x. So take the square root of both sides. So we get x plus 4, because the square and the square root will cancel, equals, we know when we take the square root we get plus or minus, but now it's a negative number. So how do we get rid of that negative sign underneath that radical? We're going to put an I on the outside. So we took that negative out. 7 doesn't break down, it's prime, so I just keep the square root of 7. Again, we're solving for x, so go ahead and move that 4 over. So you get x equals negative 4 plus or minus I square roots of 7. Remember I said in the previous video that as long as it's got a radical or an I, you don't have to break it apart unless you want to. So therefore, there's my answer. There are two answers there. I have negative 4 plus I square roots of 7, and I have negative 4 minus I square roots of 7. It's just a simplified way of writing that solution. Good luck, guys.